we find out that more than 3 years ago, in August of 2013, more than 1 billion user accounts at Yahoo were hacked. And so this news comes out since our last podcast, and I think, okay, well, actually it was Wednesday of last week, and I think, okay, first of all, remember the old phrase, fool me once, shame on you; fool me twice, shame on me. If I refuse to learn from my mistakes, well, whose fault is that? Which is my way of asking, what security-conscious person could possibly still be using Yahoo? That is, they've been sending up mushroom clouds for, every few months for the last year. And anybody who is concerned about security should be long since gone. And it's what's interesting is that even after 3 months ago, in September, when they confessed to the 500 million accounts being hacked back in 2014, so that was only 2 years ago, they didn't force password resets and security question changes. Now they're doing so. What we've learned is that this most recent billion-plus account disclosure revealed sensitive user information, including names, telephone numbers, dates of birth, hashed passwords, and unencrypted password reset security questions. Speaking of Terry Overhill. So if anyone listening to this is still using a Yahoo email account, you have to ask why. And also, absolutely, the only thing you really have to do is make sure you're not sharing any of that information, your password reset security questions, your hashed password, which is who knows how 3+ years ago it was being hashed. It's hard to imagine it would have been secure, and make sure there's no overlap between that and any accounts you actually do care about. I can understand having a throwaway email account, but just be very careful with the way you use it. And unfortunately, we're also seeing ways that someone getting into an email account can escalate their attack through various other means. So again, it's hard to believe anyone would still be there. What we hear in the coverage or read in the coverage is that, and here's the takeaway: Yahoo was ignoring the pleas from their security IT people for years. That they were deliberately giving, they were like, fine, we don't want to inconvenience our users. So what's one of our other major mantras on this podcast is, security and ease of use are always at odds with each other. And so what we're seeing is the downstream consequence of a huge company with public-facing accounts, Yahoo Mail, that also has the policy of not doing what their security people are urging them to do for years because they don't want to ruffle any of the feathers of their users. So billions of email accounts.
I always suspected it because we'd get all these calls on the radio show from people whose Yahoo's account has been hacked. And And it wasn't that they had bad passwords. I mean, it seems like they were very vulnerable. The other thing I would say is I would like to propose and hear what you think is, one probably shouldn't delete one's Yahoo account because you don't want to let that give up that mail address, especially if you ever used it for password resets or anything, because Yahoo reassigns those addresses. You don't want somebody else to get your email address. You want to keep it, but just keep it dormant and kind of, I would sanitize it of any personal information.
Yeah, and we covered this problem with Yahoo a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That whole issue of abandoning an account. I think what they were doing was, if you had not logged in for some length of time, they would send you an email into that account, which of course you wouldn't see because you weren't ever bothering with it. But then they would unilaterally make that re-available. They were recycling these long dormant email accounts, and they got a big slap on their hand for that because so many people were using their Yahoo Mail as recovery for other things. So that was my point about how, unfortunately, our experiences online are interlinked. So you might have registered once your Yahoo Mail as your backup email for recovery of something that you do care about. And if a bad guy then got a hold of your Yahoo Mail, they could, exactly as designed, use their control of your backup password recovery mechanism on an unrelated service to gain access to that service. So, yeah. Anyway, so I remember when we discussed it before, the notion was, well, how do we remember to log in every quarter? Just say, hi, Yahoo, don't expire this account. I unfortunately, I used it once and I don't ever want anybody else to have it. Wow. And it's very much like the problem of a domain name that gets lost, and then squatters sit on it because there's going to be some traffic that's going to wander in and get exposed to what's there.
Yeah.